We are the Muslim wing of the black grassroots. Unapologetic, strong, uncompromising voices that have been in the faces of the enemy and those who tap dance for them. The Feachaz is proud to present the archives exclusively on Patreon.
Change the industry. One thing that always stuck with me working in the fashion industry is we're always selling a fantasy. I got to a point in my own journey as a person, I had to start asking those questions. Well, whose fantasy are we selling? Once I started doing those exploratory questions, I started to think, like, why aren't we seeing a more diverse group of men in media, especially in fashion? I decided to open a conversation and create the Everyman Project. The Everyman Project is a body positivity initiative that encourages body diversity in the fashion industry and actually all industries in the entertainment sector, as well as dispelling toxic masculinity and really redefining what it means to be a man. Being a man means being strong. Being strong in that sense means being stoic, means being emotionless, and that's not real. We are all complex beings, no matter where you are on the gender spectrum, and to be forced into that way of living, like it's destructive. And that's what we want to show with the Everyman Project, that men can be vulnerable, that men can have feelings, that men can cry. So it's okay to be weak, and to be able to show that, I think there's a real beauty in that, and there's something that's real about that, and that's something that people need to see growing up.
Salaam Alaikum. Mr. Moderator, our distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, our friends and our enemies.
Bismillah wa salatu wa salam Rasulullah wa ba'd. In the name of Allah, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon his last and final messenger. Family, friends, foes, haters, and hateettes, welcome back to the Feachaz. I greet you all in peace and love with no hatred in my heart. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So before we begin, please like, please subscribe, and please share. As you know, we got another one, another hot one, and a lot of haters up in here. And we're probably going to get some more after this for sure, 100%. This particular topic about Black masculinity is so important that this issue is a matter of survival and warfare with the enemy himself. What you got to understand, the issue of masculinity has always been in the forefront since Black people have arrived in the Americas as slaves. Strength for a human being is essentially divided into three parts. Okay, you're either going to be mentally strong, or physically strong, or spiritually strong, or a combination of all three. Okay, and the Prophet ﷺ, he said that the strong believer is better than the weak believer. So somebody might be, for example, spiritually strong, and mentally strong, but they may be deficient in the physical aspect. And somebody who might be, for example, physically strong and spiritually strong, but mentally and intellectually, they're not as strong as other people. And then you have some people who might be physically strong and mentally strong, but not spiritually strong. So these ones are the ones that if you're not spiritually strong, then your spirit can be broken through violence and programming, which is exactly what has been happening, has been happening to Black people for the last 400 years. And as you've seen from this, I don't know what this thing is, but this particular thing, this dude, or whatever it is trying to redefine masculinity. He's trying to redefine masculinity. And he is a part of the machine and the project in order to emasculate Black men. Y'all hearing me? Let me go back to this article. Let's get this article up. One second, y'all. For those of you who think that we're just talking here, that there is no project to emasculate the Black man, and there is no project to effeminize Black folk, I will remind you of an article that we put out here on the Feachaz. Okay, so we're going to put this out. Now look at here. The alt-right is mad about a $600,000 Trump program. Y'all hearing me? In Kenya, linking violent extremism to masculinity. This is from Quartz Africa. Okay, we put this article out before. Now let's read it, shall we? American conservatives and the alt-right media outlets are not happy with the U.S. program that aims to address links between masculinity and violent extremism in Kenya. The grant proposed by the U.S. State Department's Bureau of Counterterrorism on January 12th, mind you, this was published in the 23rd of 2018, January 23rd, 2018, and it was updated of July of this year, okay? So the article was actually updated, okay? With aims to fund a project that looks like ideals of masculinity in Kenya and how they make men vulnerable to recruitment by fundamentalist groups. The 2-year, $600,000 program says expectations, and this is the point we want to drive home here, people. Expectations of Kenyan men to be tough, heterosexual, aggressive, unemotional, and achieving are exploited by groups who appeal to these characteristics and offer the opportunity to fulfill these roles. What were the characteristics that they were mentioning? Tough, heterosexual, aggressive, unemotional, and achieving. Now, family, Let me ask y'all, what did these people describe? Did they describe anything weird? Or did they describe a masculine man? Put it in the chat, please. Did they describe something that is dangerous? Or did they describe masculine men? And let's go back to this body positivity guru. Let's go back to him. Let me stop sharing this. Let's get back to dude. Like, subscribe, share, hit me up on Patreon. What did he say? What was his complaints about masculinity? Mind you, that was back in 2018. He said this. Let's listen to what this body positivity activist said. Let's go back.
A fantasy. I got to a point in my own journey as a person, I had to start asking those questions. Well, whose fantasy are we selling? Once I started doing those exploratory questions, I started to think, like, why aren't we seeing a more diverse group of men in media, especially in fashion? I decided to open a conversation and create the Everyman Project. The Everyman Project is a body positivity initiative that encourages body diversity in the fashion industry and actually all.
Let me ask y'all something. This Everyman Project, that this, whatever this is pushing. Which one of you men desires to look like this? Any one of these. Which one of you men that are watching this right now, his body goals is to look like one of these? Any takers? Just put yes, I want to look like this, or the hell to the no, I don't want to look like this. Put it in the chat, please. Which one of y'all aspiring? Your body goals is to look like I don't even know what to call this. Remember, we're talking about body positivity, right? Are these body goals right here? If there are any sisters in the chat, just tell me which one of these is the most desired body that you wish that your man had. Look at this. Look at this. So his project is for what exactly? But we're not going to stop there. Let's keep watching, y'all.
The Everyman Project is a body positivity initiative that encourages body diversity.
Look at this. Look at this. Does any of this jump out to you screaming, yeah, that these are goals right here? You know, to have a truly chiseled masculine body requires hours and hours and hours of work and discipline and diet. Especially if your genetics wants to hold on to fat. You have to work that much harder. Correct? How much work do you think these guys put in to look like this? How much work do you think they did? But let's keep going, y'all. Shall we keep going? Let's keep going. Shout out to Chizazed. This is where I got this from anyway.
Diversity in the fashion industry and actually all industries in the entertainment sector, as well as dispelling toxic masculinity and really redefining what it means to be a man. Being a man means being strong. Being strong in that sense means being stoic, means being emotionless, and that's not real. We are all complex beings, no matter where you are on the gender spectrum, and to be forced into that way of living, like it's destructive. And that's what we want to show with the Everyman Project, that men can be vulnerable, that men can have feelings, that men can cry. So it's okay to be weak, and to be able to show that, I think there's like.
What kind of man is running around telling his sons it's okay to be weak? For those of you who have sons, do you tell your sons it's okay to be weak? You are training your sons to go into the real world where there are some sharks and some wolves. And you're going to tell your sons it's okay to be weak in that world? This man, what's his job? Photographer, right? This is a photographer, right? Can he build anything? Can he, is this mountain of redefining masculinity somebody you want to have your back when it comes fight time? But what did he say about masculinity? What did he say? Let's go back.
That's what we want to show with the Everyman Project, that men can be vulnerable. That in that sense means being stoic, means being emotionless, and that's.
He said being masculine means being stoic and being emotionless. Correct? Being stoic and being emotionless. And then he goes on to refute that. Let's go back to this article, shall we? Let's go back. Let's go back to this article. You think this is not... All of this is connected. All of this is connected. They have been emasculating Black men as a project for the last almost 500 years. Look at Bilal. Someone's trying to eat Bilal. I'm sorry you had to see that. I'm sorry you had to see that. But look, me, I know I'm big. I'm a big guy. But what you don't know, right, is because I hide it well, is I got all of this. Look at this. look at this, okay? You don't know that. You can't see it because I hide it, okay? You don't get all of this by just chilling and stuff. You have to hit the gym. You have to do a push-up or two. You understand? Exactly. Exactly. Look. You think it's jokes. Look. You understand? I don't go around telling my sons it's okay to be weak. I tell my sons, be the strongest version of yourself you can possibly be. That's what I tell my sons. It's not okay to be weak. Be the strongest version of you can possibly be. The world is not a nice place. The world is not a friendly place. You understand? He wants men to cry and be stoic. When the enemy is kidnapping you and throwing your sons in jail and killing your brothers in the streets, is the appropriate response to cry and be weak at that time? Is that the appropriate response? Just cry and be weak. But let's go back to this article, shall we? One second, yo. Let's go back to this article. Yeah, I remember that, dude. Because I did the loudest scream I could. Remember that video, yo? Remember that? Exactly. Stealing and brainwashing out women, too. Exactly. That's the point. I promise you, dude is the product of a fatherless upbringing. Because no self-respecting man will teach his sons be weak. They're always going to tell their sons, be the strongest version of yourself you can possibly be. They're not going to say be weak. What is that? Look at here. The 2-year, 600,000 program says expectation of Kenyan men to be tough, heterosexual, aggressive, unemotional, i.e. stoic, and achieving, are exploited by groups who appeal to these characteristics and offer the opportunity to fulfill these roles. To counter this, the department said it will commission, are you listening to this? 2018, they did this in Kenya. They will commission a study around this perceived link and will, through activities, promote male-to-male dialogue on the issues of gender and encourage stronger social and familial support structures. These are the geopolitical theatrics that overlap with the social engineering armaments, which Black people call Black culture. Y'all hearing me? These are the games that they play. Didn't this big ball of sugar and moisture say essentially the same thing that this article is saying? Did he not just say the same thing? It is as Black, all this nonsense is as Black culturally as the very same European white Jesus Millions of black people worship internationally, calling him our Lord and Savior. It got nothing to do with black people. All this stuff is imported. Y'all hearing me? Your enemy carries out studies to emasculate you. And your very own tax dollars flip the bill for your very destruction. You get it? You get it? And furthermore, y'all running around protesting and picketing like this round ball of just sugary moisture. You are protesting, you are picketing in the name of the investments of your very destruction. So black people internationally are facing the same socioeconomic, cultural, and security catastrophes. And instead of fighting the enemy, you fight each other. This is why the importance of turning to Allah himself can't be stressed enough. Can you imagine the enemy with deep pockets, an unlimited amount of funding? They're spending money on this, and then they bring this study back home to the West so they can implement their geopolitical drama on black folks at home. And this is exactly how they do it. Y'all hearing me? What is the difference between this study and this sugary bowl of queerness here? Trying to redefine masculinity. Barakallah feek, hayakumullah, brother Kev D. May Allah reward you and bless you and multiply it 1,000-fold for you. Ameen. Everybody say ameen for brother Kev D. Everybody say ameen. But here's the thing. Here's the killer. We know for sure the enemy has had this project in full swing since at least the early 1900s with Margaret Sanger, correct? And the eugenics movement, correct? We understand this. We also understand that the black feminism movement in the 70s was the most potent weapon against the black community, where they have monetized the breaking up of black families. But not only that, they shielded the black woman from the black man by using the judicial system. But not only that, they made sure that these black women had homes at the expense of keeping the fathers of their own children out the homes. But not only that, they made sure that they could, by any means necessary, imprison as much as possible the sons of the very black women that have kept their fathers out of their homes. And still that is not enough. They have to send sugar bombs. Masculinity can never be toxic. And that's a lie. Masculinity and toxicity shouldn't even be in the same sentence. Y'all hearing me? This is the fear of black masculinity. Because when you have black masculinity and you are telling your sons be the strongest version of yourself, even the weakest of your sons, who is being the strongest version of himself, is 1,000 times more useful for the wider black community than this bowl of sugar here, encouraging weakness and crying. Because at least the weakest out of the sons that you have that are trying to be the strongest version of themselves, at least they understand what it is to be a warrior. To not just be physically strong, but mentally strong. And not just be mentally strong, but spiritually strong. Which is where Islam comes in. Y'all hearing me? And as a matter of fact, Allah himself outlines in the Quran the dominance of masculinity over the creation. When Allah says, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمًا, that verily we have created man in the best forms. And also Allah's statement, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ اتَّقُوا رَبَّكُمُ الَّذِي خَلَقَكُم مِّن نَّفْسٍ وَاحِدَةٍ. O mankind, fear your Lord, who has created you from a nafsin wahida. What is or who is the nafsin wahid? Who is that single soul that Allah is talking about in this ayah? Put it in the chat, please. Somebody put it in the chat. Somebody put it in the chat. I need somebody to put it in the chat, please. Who is the nafsin wahida that Allah is talking about in the Quran? Who is that? Thank you. It's Adam. It's Adam, the very first man. Is it conceivable that Allah created Adam weak and crying and emotionful? You know what I mean? Is that does that even make any sense? But not only Allah doesn't stop there. Allah says, وَخَلَقَ مِنْهَا زَوْجَهَا. And then Allah, he created from that man, the very first man, Adam, his mate. The woman was created for who? She was created for the man, correct? Why is it in the black community that the black woman believes that she has no connection with her creation, with her man? Why is that? It has to be the social engineering project. It has to be this disconnect that was superimposed upon black people in the black community, correct? It has to be that. Y'all hearing me? If it's not that, then what is it? It has to be that. Then Allah doesn't stop there. He says, وَبَثَ مِنْهُمَا رِجَالًا كَثِيرًا وَالنِّسَاءَ. From these two, the first being Adam, Nobody thinks, doesn't even become a thought that a human being would think that Adam, the first human being, is weak. And then from Adam, he created Adam's mate, Hawa, Eve. For who? For Adam. Not the opposite way around. Not like how it is in the black community. Adam was created to worship Allah. Eve, of course, was created for the same reasons, but her worship of Allah is connected to her obedience and her companionship with Adam, correct? In return, Adam provides and maintains Eve and the children that they bore, correct? Let me ask y'all something, because the next ayah is important. The next part of the ayah is important, rather. وَبَثَ مِنْهُمَا رِجَالًا كَثِيرًا وَنِسَاءً. That with these two, you find many men and women were spread throughout the earth. Y'all hearing me? Many men and women were spread throughout the earth. Let me ask y'all something. Since we're on the topic about men and women being spread throughout the earth, let me ask y'all something. Can I ask y'all something? Can I ask you a question? Let me ask y'all a question. What is this going to spread on the earth? What is this going to spread on the earth? Which one of these looks like it's going to father a child? It's going to spread monkeypox. Monkeypox. Which one of these looks like is going to father a child? So the ones who are not going to father children are telling the ones who are fathering the children how to teach their children masculinity. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Just some walking Jello pudding pops with legs and stuff. Look at this. This is going to teach you what masculinity is? And ain't nothing funny going on around here? No pun intended. This? You're going to take marching orders from this? So we've seen the enemy and their fear of black masculinity, how they killed black masculinity through centuries of emasculation and social projects, social engineering projects, geopolitical theatrics. But what is happening now? What is happening is the pushback. We're seeing the pushback from black men. None of these bowls of butter will be having children anytime soon. So what they have to do is go after your children. You get it? Or they have to adopt children. Male body positivity. Look at this. What's positive about this? Number one killer of black men, heart-related diseases. You as a man, and none of these men look old, actually. None of them look old. They all look fairly young. You as a man got this body by literally doing nothing. That's how you got your bodies. So your nothing doing body, which you got from doing nothing, okay? Eating Popeye's chicken and pizza and Burger King, whatever the heck you eat. You didn't run around the block or walk around it for that matter. You didn't play baseball or basketball or football or any of the school sports. You didn't do that. What you did was your mama's hair. What you did was your sister's braids because your daddy wasn't home. It takes zero work and perhaps a lot of weed smoking for a male to achieve a D cup like this dude. Zero work. But you're saying that this is male body positivity? This is male body positivity? Who's buying it? Where are the people that are buying this? Family, what is written in the Quran and the Sunnah is incredibly relevant to this right now. Because in our time, it is very clear that the enemy is trying to change the nature of both men and women, particularly in the black community. And they have unlimited funding behind campaigns just like this to make the children who are growing up without their fathers in the home feel okay about these round brown watermelon shapes, even though the number one killer of black men is heart disease. But it's okay, be positive. And I'll show you this hadith. Let me show you this hadith, just so that we can be clear. One second, y'all. This is in Sahih Bukhari. Okay? The Prophet ﷺ cursed effeminate men. Are you hearing this? But don't stop there. Don't stop there. He just cursed the men who act like women. Those men who are in similitude and assuming the manners of women. And he cursed those women, you know, your studs and stuff, who assume the manners of men. I know we're talking today about black masculinity, but for the sisters, this energy that you are expressing and pushing forth in the black community, which is causing incredible destruction, this masculine energy. I don't need no man. Strong, black and independent woman. The Prophet ﷺ, he cursed it. He cursed it. You have black women, because the enemy has put you in charge of the community, you have tasted this power, and now you openly use it against black men. You prevent the fathers of your children from seeing your children. You use the judicial system in order to bankrupt the children, the fathers of your children. You are the number one weaponizers of the system of the enemy against your men. Nobody does it more than you. And what is happening now is you are also the most prolific demographic right now as we speak becoming homeless. Black women, single mothers in the black community are losing their homes at a faster rate than anybody else, because you thought that when the government pays your rent in a house that the government gave you, that was your house. That's what you thought. And you're beginning to realize now it's not your house. It was and has always been the government's house. And you could have been the backbone behind your own man, pushing him into his own nature so that he can become the provider for you. But you didn't choose that. You chose government stipends over the black men. And because the government gave you a place to stay, you have multiple children with multiple fathers. And you make sure that your children hear how terrible their fathers are. And if you don't believe me, you can use the situation that has come out recently with 50 Cent as a typical example. And the reason why we're using that example is because 50 Cent was incredibly generous to his baby mother's affairs and his son. Incredibly generous. And still, the disdain that his own son has for his father is a direct result because of the propaganda his mother pushed against him. Can you imagine 50 Cent, the rapper, gave this woman and her child that she had before him and her son that she has with him, was giving them $25,000 a month without even going. He took himself to court. They didn't ask for it. He did it himself. The court, they were the ones who made it 1/3, because when they were looking at the whole situation, they said this woman only has one child by 50 cents. We're going to make it 1/3. They made it $6,700 per month. And they still found a way to complain about 50 Cent. And his son, his own son, said some of the most outrageous, outlandish things against his own father wealth, who paid for his high school and his college tuition. And the reason why we're mentioning that is that if that could be done with 50 Cent, who was being incredibly generous, what about us, the regular black person from the hood? What about us? Y'all hearing me? But anyways, this hadith, I'm going to go back to the men now. He said, the Prophet ﷺ said, turn them out of your houses. Turn who out your houses? The effeminate men and the masculine women. The Prophet ﷺ turned out such and such a man, and Umar turned out such and such a woman. Don't let these types in your houses. Family, those of you who have been married to black Muslim women, do we see their Islam practicing this hadith? Do they practice this hadith when their sons become all effeminate and stuff? You see them practicing this hadith? Or do they take sides with their juicy, moist sons against their fathers? Which one is it? How many? You see, the thing is, these situations are so incredibly common. Even in the Muslim community, incredibly common. The problem is that we don't talk about it. That's the only issue. But every last one of us knows a black woman practicing Muslimah. Even most of us know multiple practicing Muslimah women who take their ex-husbands to court for spite, out of malice, out of this intention of trying to destroy the man, using the kufr court system. So the Islam goes out the window at this time. Now they need to practice kufr. In my opinion, my humble opinion, when you start taking Muslims to these kafir court systems, believing men, believing women, doesn't make a difference. When you start doing that, this is tantamount to kufr. Because now you made a conscious decision not to practice the word of Allah, and on top of that, you're using the system that the enemy made to bankrupt other Muslims. So you're not just causing fitna for that man, you're causing fitna for the entire community. You hearing me? But not only that, when your sons start wilding out, they start not doing well in school, or they decide they want to start wearing dresses and makeup and stuff, Who is the first person that you call to come and fix your sons? Somebody put it in the chat, please. Somebody put it in the chat. Who is the first person that you call to come fix your sons? After you kick, just somebody put it in the chat, please. Because I want to know if I'm tripping or not. Your son reaches teenage years now. He going to high school. He starts seeing girls and stuff. And the Pookies and Ray Rays in school and stuff. Start hanging out with them. Not wanting to do his homework. Thank you, Seema. Thank you. Thank you. That's exactly who the same man that you kicked out your house. Black women are incredibly proud and boastful for breaking up their own families and bragging about it in public on Facebook. We all seen it on Facebook. They would brag about it. How they divorced this man and left this man. Even 50 Cent baby mother, I left him. He didn't leave me. I left him. And she bragging. How she destroyed her own family. She's happy. We know that Islam is not preventing them from doing major kufr, major sins in Islam. Their hijab, their salat, their fasting is not preventing them from destroying their own communities. When the sons become too old and isn't listening, they want to send them back to the father. Exactly. The same man they tried to destroy. This is the blueprint time and time and time and time and time again. It doesn't change. It doesn't change. So for the masculine black man, we are the ones who have to choose better. We have to choose better. What happens is because we are in a rush to get married. Sister just became Muslim last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. She may have become Muslim, worshiping Allah, making salat and these type of things. But she still has that black feminism deeply ingrained in her nature. So we marry sisters. She got 2 kids already, 3 kids already. She's been to the club, whatever. She has no history of holding down a serious relationship whatsoever. We married these women because they are wearing hijab and making salat and stuff and calling themselves good Muslim. But what we should be doing is working on ourselves and picking an actual wife. You got to understand something. And I want y'all to understand this good. Just because you're a married woman, that does not make you a wife. It just makes you a married woman. What you mean, Bilal? Isn't that the same thing? No, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing at all. And understand this good. There's a difference between a wife and a married woman. And I'm going to prove it to you right now. Jada Pinkett, is she a married woman? Yes or no? Put it in the chat. Somebody put it in the chat. Is Jada Pinkett a married woman? Yes or no? Somebody put it in the chat, please. Jada Pinkett, is she a married woman? Yes or no? Is Jada Pinkett a married woman? Yes, she's a married woman. She's a married woman. Is she a wife or is she for the streets? Which one is it? Which one of y'all think that... Do y'all consider Jada Pinkett a wife or for the streets? Somebody put in the chat, please. Somebody put in the chat. Does she have any of the characteristics of a wife? Does she display a single characteristic of a wife? All the way for the streets. Just name one characteristic of a wife that Jada Pinkett has. Just name one. Gabrielle Union. Is she married? Yes or no? Somebody put in the chat, please. Somebody put it in the chat. Gabrielle Union, is she married? Yes or no? Come on, let's talk about this today. Gabrielle Union is just the same. She's a married woman, but she for the streets. She ain't nobody's wife. She for the streets. She is married. That's it. Some of y'all brothers, you choose to marry these women. You married to the woman, but she for the streets. She ain't nobody's wife. You get it? That's why you're getting these problems. That's why you're having these problems. And it's causing mass destruction in the black community. You have to choose better. And if you are not getting the pick that you like, then you have to do better so you can choose better. That's just how it goes. We don't make excuses up in here. Your other option is to become like that big round bowl of Jell-O pudding that we watched a few minutes ago. If you want that. And these issues, if you start talking to some brothers in a serious manner, you're going to see that these issues are incredibly common. And you're not going through it alone. Well, you're going through it alone because you're kind of choosing, because in a black community, individualism has been superimposed. So everybody's just out for themselves and they think this is a good, normal behavior, and it's not. You have to move as a group. You have to move as a unit. And it's important that if you're going to move as a unit, you have to stay on code. You have to stay on code, which is what we always push over here. And the code is the actual Quran and the Sunnah. You know, for me, because I know my people very well, right? I know black people, they like to argue so much. You just like to argue for no reason, trying to prove a point and stuff, trying to get under your skin, you know, trying to troll you and trying to, pull you into long arguments. You know, I don't do that. I would just say my salams to the brother, and that's it. There's so many situations like this. I'm asking very pointed, simple questions because I'm trying to get to the crux of the matter. Brother's trying to just prove a point. He just want to prove a point. That's it. That's all he's trying to do. why I need to waste my time arguing with you and lose my peace arguing with you. At the end of the day, we can still be brothers. You can say whatever you want, but me, I'm gonna be on code. You know what I mean? With all the ad hominems and the epithets or whatever, it don't make no difference. How many times even on this channel y'all see, you know, how we deal with some of these brothers, man. Y'all see, we ain't arguing too much. We're bringing the proof. We're expecting you to answer the dalil with the proof, and then you look in the comments and all these fanboys and they're like, I'm supposed to lose my peace over that. We don't do that here. If you move like this, you will get so much done, even not just on an individual level, but on a communal level, because your goals are in line with the way that you move. They're not individualistic anymore. It takes this type of positioning where you always have to argue and always have to prove yourself right? Is that a masculine trait or a feminine trait? Let's be real today. Let's be real. Is somebody always got to argue and always prove themselves right? Who does this more, men or women? Let's be real today. Always trying to argue and draw you into an argument, and thank you. It's women. That is a totally feminine trait. Y'all learning that from your mothers and stuff. The way they talk to your fathers and stuff, man. Just the best type of women are the women who don't get involved in that. Because that's a purely feminine attribute. Because women, they are the ones who go on emotion. A man, typically, he's trying to get to the crux of the matter, the root of the matter, so that he can either take a position in the correct way or he can fix a problem. That's it. That's how a masculine man thinks like this. A masculine man ain't trying to argue with you. Like, why? Either it's like this or it's not like this. We're trying to get like some issues solved here. You got some dudes, man. They have some incredibly feminine traits, and particularly in the black community, because we know how it is, man. We all know how it is. So when you leave off that type of argumentation, believe me, you will get so much more done. Trust me. Having debates with people for 3, 4, 5 days in a row on Facebook, okay, on WhatsApp. And you could be using that time in some other way. So these women, yeah, you married them, but that's not your wife. That's not your wife. Look at Russell Wilson, what he's going through right now. Russell Wilson is having the worst year of his entire career, okay? And we all know why that is. Do we have to spell it out? Do we seriously have to spell it out? Look what he married. Kanye West. Look what he married. These are not wives. And as a Muslim, you have to be much more methodical and intentional, especially when it comes to marriage. And especially more so the man than the woman. Why? Because the men are the ones who choose the wives, not the women. The women don't choose the husbands. Never, ever. All the woman has to do is say yes, that's it. But it's always the man who always seeks out the woman for marriage. All the time. It's very rare, with some rare exceptions. Like, for example, the Prophet ﷺ and Khadija, radiallahu anha, where Khadija, radiallahu anha, sought the Prophet ﷺ. This is very, very rare. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said yes. He said yes. But the norm is that the man goes, he seeks, he finds, the woman says yes or no. That's it. We have a situation where approximately it's like 50% of men, black men, are single. 50%. Okay? 50% of black men are single. Okay? 30% of black men are married. And they are producing children who are not like the single mothers. So that leaves 20% of black men who are producing single motherhood to 80% of black women. And you want to go and run behind and marry one of those. You want to go behind and marry one of those? These types of women, the types of women who are complaining about their men and they're getting impregnated by the same men throughout the entire hood and stuff. This, even with hijab and abaya, don't do it, brother. Don't do it. Do not do it. Leave those heifers alone. Let them go extinct. The only way that you should be marrying a woman like that is if she has done her counseling and her homework. If she has not done either, or especially both, don't do it. You're just adding to the destruction of the black Muslim community. You need to, if you can't find the young girls or the virgins or whatnot, the women who haven't experienced men, then you need to build yourself up so that you can get one of those. It's as simple as that. But don't run behind, some women that have been broken in by the entire masjid, okay, and expect to marry her, and then things will be all honky-dory and stuff. It don't work like that. It does not work like that. So anyways, we've been going now, looks like almost an hour and 20 minutes. I want to say Jazakallah khair for everybody who participated. Jazakallah khair for the brother Kevdi. Hayakumullah, may Allah reward you and bless you for your generosity. Everybody say Ameen. I want to thank everybody who participated with me tonight. Inshallah, like, subscribe, share, and hit me up on Patreon. Look at here, family. This right here, this live right here, I know it's like at a different time than I'm doing most of the times, but please share this live. Please share this live. It's a very important topic, especially for the men. Especially for the men. You have to know that, yes, black men are, their masculinity is, of course, it's under attack. It's been under attack. We put it out many times on this channel, many, many times with the receipts and another receipt again. Okay. You understand? This is a part of your social engineering weapon against you. It's a part of the program. And the solution, as you can see, we're quoting ayat, we're quoting hadith. We're letting you know that these things have already been, the solution has been solved for you 1400 years ago. It's up to you to stay on code with what the Quran and Sunnah is actually saying. And as for the YouTubian Da'i elites who have no Quran and Sunnah with them, you need to fear Allah. You need to fear Allah. You people who want to lead the Muslims into conservatism and saying this is a part of Islam, fear Allah with yourselves. We are quoting Quran and Sunnah directly. We didn't need no help from nobody. And before we go, let me just read one thing for you from this book here, if you can see. The ISIS Papers. Okay, from the late Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. She wrote this in 1971. She wrote this, okay? Listen to what she says. If you think it's like, no, Bilal, you're talking too much. No, it's not just talk. Listen what she says. Ready? Black male homosexuality and bisexuality are only the long run byproducts of males submitting in fear to the other males in the social arena. They fail to resist because death is the result of resistance. She wrote this in 1971. Which males are black males fearing in death? Got to be the enemy. It has to be the enemy. Who was it that brought LGBT to Africa? Barack Obama. And now we have the Kenyan government outlawing any movies with homosexual content in it. There's resistance. This is the resurrection of black masculinity. Anyways, the large number of black male homosexuals and bisexuals who report that they have had, they had and have little or no respect for their fathers. Ya Rab. Little or no respect for their fathers might have had completely different life histories had they grown up with the knowledge that their fathers died while in defense of their manhood. Are y'all hearing this? Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, people. When it was attacked and challenged by the oppressor. This is especially true if their mothers also admired or respected their father's manhood. This isn't last year. 1971, she wrote this. Then manhood would have been viewed as something so precious that one dies in defense of it. This is quite different. This is quite a different input into the child brain computer than he was a no good, trifling, lazy nigger, and you should never want to be like him. For those of you who thought that the attack on black masculinity was an accident, you know, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing in this book, she brings in so many gems, like bombs, how when the enemy would lynch black folk, they would castrate them. And she said psychologically it's because of the fear of black male reproduction. She mentioned also in this book, the movie, what is it called? Birth of a Nation. And how the caricature of a white man playing a black person in that movie, the black person that he played was this sexually undisciplined, ignorant, violent black person who always attacked and tried to get white women. And so the Ku Klux Klan had to save white women from the black man in that movie. And that movie, as a result, cost mass lynching throughout the states. Mass lynching. Played at the White House. I think it was President Eisenhower who played at the White House. Y'all hearing this? Is this not what goes on today? Is there anything different between 1971 and 2022? How many of us heard black women call the fathers of their children no good, trifling, lazy nigger, and you should never want to be like him? They say this to their own children about their fathers. You all must be tripping. Also, from the same book, a few paragraphs down, black psychiatrists must understand that whites may condone homosexuality for themselves, but we as blacks must see it as a strategy for, drum roll please, destroying black people that must be countered. Homosexuals or bisexuals should neither be condemned nor degraded, as they did not decide what they would be so programmed in childhood. The racist system should be held responsible. Our task is to treat and prevent the continuing and the increasing occurrence. Y'all hearing this? 1971. What is really the difference in strategy, except that the strategy has been much more funded since Barack Obama became president. And now we are seeing all over the internet some moist Negroes, some round and brown butterball Negroes talking all this. Let me just put this, let me just show y'all one more time. Let's end it with this here. Let's end it with this, y'all. Because Frances Cress Wilson, y'all, look. The ISIS papers. She wrote this 1971. She wrote this. And there's absolutely no difference between 1971 and 2022 in terms of the strategy against black masculinity. No difference. If she wrote it today, it'd be just as relevant. And these are the images that they want you to go for. And as long as you keep consuming popular culture in the black community, the popular culture that the enemy owns, we don't own our own culture. Everything in our culture has been hijacked. Every last thing. Country music it was made by black people. Do we own it? Rock and roll music made by black people. Do we own it? Grunge music made by black people. Do we own it? You name it. Now we got R&B and hip hop. And are any of the messages coming from these two genres positive at all for black people? Look at this. The Moist Mafia. This is what they're pushing for you now. And on top of that, black women will keep these sons in their homes and kick their fathers out when the Prophet ﷺ said, do the opposite. Kick the Moist Mafia out your homes. Don't let them in. Take them, get them out your homes. That's what the Prophet ﷺ said. And black Muslim women are practicing the opposite. So the black Muslim man must choose better. Jazakumullah khair, family. May Allah reward you and bless you all. Thank you all for joining me tonight. May Allah reward you. Subhanaka wa bihamdik wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.